Welcome to This Week Airlines. Just doing the final checks before takeoff. Sunglasses, check. Lip balm, wallet, phone, check. We're good to go. It's a delightful 14 degrees Celsius here. It's Tuesday morning, and I'm heading to work, and I'm going to have a hideous day at work. So I thought I'd go live and talk about something totally unrelated to work. Because once I get there, I'm not going to have time to scratch myself. I hope you brought your own drinks, beverages, snacks, not included on this flight. So if you didn't bring your own, too bad. Also, I hope you brought your own seatbelts. We don't provide them either. I do want to have a bit of a vent this morning, though, and I'm going to do a live tonight. This is sort of like preempting a live that I'm planning to do tonight. I've wanted to do it for ages. I wanted to do a video, in fact, regarding the surviving housemate, the one that's very prolific on social media. Not her, but her name. The other one's rarely mentioned at all. But in the winding down of yesterday's craziness, basically I work for a very small legal community service, and we work our butts off when we're all on board. At the moment, I'm the only lawyer at the service and will be the only lawyer there again today. I was on my own all day yesterday, and we have been so busy. So, yeah, the other two lawyers who work for the service, well, there's three, but one's part-time and literally 1 day a week. The other two lawyers with the service and admin are all on annual leave at the same time. Isn't that awesome planning? Unbelievable. So, yeah, I mean, we're so busy that we're booking appointments 2 and 3 weeks away. Crazy. There just isn't the staff to handle all of the clients. And I don't know. Hopefully they'll get some funding this year and they can put another lawyer on the team, because this is getting unbearable. Hi, Kylie. It's incredibly stressful. The only saving grace for me is this is my short week, which means I'm not back at work till next week, usually Monday, but Monday is a public holiday in Hobart, so I'm not back till Tuesday. So I'm going to get 6 days to regroup. And I tell you what, I need it. It's just incredible how much work there is to be done. And I've got back-to-back clients all day, but I'm also the one that has to try to take calls and book people in with lawyers. And anyway, I just have to breathe. You're getting coffee. I was making a coffee, but I've made a smoothie, and I was like, I'd usually make a smoothie and coffee, and I get to town and I haven't really finished either of them. So I was like, no, I'm going to get a coffee when I get to town, and I'm going to drink my smoothie on the way in. But the morning commute does provide opportunities for a vent, and I can't actually, what's the word? I'm actually starting to get incredibly angry at the constant scrutiny of one of the surviving housemates in particular, the one that gave a statement. I'll call her DM, that was cited in the affidavit, the probable cause affidavit. I was really hoping that people were sick of making her a victim as well, but clearly they're not. But now it's got to a point where channels that I actually regarded pretty highly are buying into it as well. Of course, you've got people like Ashley Banfield and all of her alleged sources, whoever the hell they are, fueling the sleuthers' fire, which just, I can't believe people watch her and listen to her and she's like, according to our sources. Name your sources. Verify it somehow. Because these people take everything this woman says as gospel. And she's already had to apologise with the whole Cara Canodal interview saga. And even that was a very lame-ass, inverted commas, apology. Oh, well, Ashley Banfield said it, so it must be true. She says her sources and doesn't actually verify them. But then on top of that, there are other creators who are poring over articles in publications online like the Daily Mail and making out that by doing so it's a verified, credible media source. And again, in those articles, they also quote their sources, but nobody's verified or named. There's no way to fact check it and see if that person even exists. Having more information than most online sites, because they probably do pay a shitload of people money to extract additional information. But I mean, that's a publication that we use for stories on batshit. An entertainment show that last week, we often have more photos than other newsprint or online newspaper articles, and they definitely have chunkier articles. But there's a creator who has been calling out shit on YouTube, including Joseph Morris doctoring a Daily Mail article, who's now using the Daily Mail as a credible source of information. And they're all just feeding the sleuths who want the neck and the blood of this surviving housemate. And I scroll through the comments when I see some of the creators and what they've been doing and saying, hoping that there are other people out there that feel the same way that I do. Leave her alone. Like, it's getting to a point that people are going to go offline and hurt her or try to. People are angry because all of these articles and creators and Ashley Banfields of the world are whipping these people up into a frenzy, and they want blood. And there were a couple of people, but not many. And admittedly, one person wrote a fabulous comment reflecting exactly what my point of view is. Unfortunately, there were, I reckon, 14 replies under it, with people saying they were grateful that she'd spoken out against the tide of ferals that just want to victimise every single person that ever gets named in any case. So there were people backing her, which was refreshing. And also made me feel a little bit more positive that, there are some of us out there and we're not going to shut up. But, we run the risk of speaking up in her favour and having the mob go after us. Don't yell at us, we're allowed to sleuth. It's like nobody's yelling. You are, in fact. We're just pitching a different opinion. That's what adult conversation is. Have you noticed how not only are they so vicious and wanting to crucify every person ever named in any friggin' case, with no remorse if they get it wrong, no apology offered to that person they've been slamming, for weeks beforehand. But if you go in there and say, we only know a fraction of this story, and you're all interpreting her statement to suit what you want it to be about, you don't know the context. Why aren't any of you rewinding to one of the first things the Moscow PD said, which was she was not considered to be connected to the case? Doesn't that make you think they know a shitload more than we do? Everyone's taking this frozen in shock, frozen in fear statement and making out that she was terrified and knew that something horrible was going on and she did nothing about it. And I've said over and over again, if you're in a share house and you're walking out of your room and there's someone walking down the hallway, you freeze on the spot if you don't feel like engaging with them. That's all she might have been talking about. She froze on the spot. Just because she might have heard a few things that were going on, none of those things individually indicated that she knew something horrific was going on. And now there's some unnamed, unverified source claiming that she heard heaps of screaming and did nothing. Well, if that was true, that might change things, for sure. But at the moment, it's completely unverified. It's either been put out there on Ashley Banfield or in a publication like the Daily Mail, neither of which are credible at all. We have to wait till the trial, because I don't even know if they'll call her for the preliminary hearing. I don't know if they need her identification of the perpetrator for the prelim. I think they've got enough evidence, other evidence, stronger evidence. It's very easy to discredit someone when it's 4 a.m, you're in a dark house, someone walks past, his face is mostly covered, I mean, I personally wouldn't want to call her because I think she's already going through so much trauma. If she was my witness, I'd save her for the trial. I wouldn't want to put her through having to recount that horrible night and what she's been living with ever since, including, no doubt about it, harassment from online sleuths. At least if not online, possibly some offline as well. I agree, Kylie. Isn't it enough that someone has been arrested and there's enough evidence to justify that? But even him, I'm furious at I thought, reputable YouTubers who are speaking about him like he's already been convicted of it. He is still innocent until proven guilty. Jump onto a few channels and have a listen to how they talk about it. And then Brian went into the house and then he went to this room and killed these people. And they're talking about it like it's been proven that he did it. And they rave about, our freedom of speech, our right to bear arms, innocent until proven guilty. Apparently doesn't matter. Unless it's someone you know and you're going to fight tooth and nail for their innocence. Do you know what I mean? You can't take some of your freedoms and some of your rights and sing your praises about how amazing they are and then completely ignore another one. Especially if you claim to be into true crime. How can you possibly be an observer of any true crime without innocent until proven guilty constantly in your mind and how you approach everything and describe everything and discuss everything? It's vital that people are innocent until proven guilty for the legal system to work the way it's set up. But all these, I'm so into true crime, but I don't care about the innocent until proven guilty. I'm going to talk about Brian like he's already convicted and sentenced to death, hopefully. That's it. But this girl, I thought that they would back off. I thought they'd get into, the Alec Murdoch trial. Isn't there some Valo Daybell shit going on, Sue? Like, find some other stories. But no, let's just keep going live, crucifying the surviving housemate who isn't able to speak out and defend herself because she's subject to the gag order. She's probably getting fairly intensive treatment at the moment for probably PTSD, survivor's guilt, and God knows what else. On top of that, she's just trying to come to terms with what actually happened in that house. She's also trying to grieve. And you've got people on YouTube pretty much having her hung, drawn and quartered. And on what basis? The tiny shred of information we've got that it seems to be only being interpreted in one way. People aren't going, yeah, but what if she just froze on the spot because some guy's walking out of the house and she didn't want to engage with him? Oh, but she heard heaps of screams. Really? According to who? Ashley Banfield and the Daily Mail. Really? And who was it who gave that information to them? Oh, they didn't name them. So you haven't been able to verify who it was? No. And the fact that the cops said they didn't think she had anything to do with it, no. I mean, isn't failure to report a crime a crime? Don't you think she would have been charged with that if that was an issue? Yeah, that frustrates the crap out of me too, Kylie. Everyone putting what they would have done. These middle-aged women and men are all being so judgmental. If it was their kid and there were so many people on YouTube ripping them to shreds, they'd be jumping all over the place defending their baby, saying, you weren't there, you don't know, you haven't even put yourself in her shoes, stop it, she's a kid. Look at what happened with Kylie Rodney. I wouldn't have let my daughter go in the first place. She wasn't your daughter. You don't live in that community. You're not her mother. The fact that you wouldn't let your kid go is irrelevant. It means absolutely nothing. But you sit there in your bloody gaming chair making out your mother of the year all you want. But whatever comes out of your mouth along the lines of, I wouldn't have let her go to the party in the first place, it's irrelevant. Hey, Ruth. I'm ranting, man. I've got such a nightmarish day at work, so I'm trying to get all this angst out before I have to put on my happy, supportive, helpful lawyer face. But I'm also saddened by the fact that there's just a speck of people that are trying to say to these sharks, I don't know, I love sharks, these opinionated sleuths who are latching onto words that come out of Ashley Banfield's mouth and taking it as fact when it's far from it. Hey, Aussie Chad. Well, that's another thing too, the mothers that are like, I wouldn't have let her go in the first place. Well, yeah, your daughter's probably sneaking out once you're asleep to go to parties. Just saying. I hate the I'm the best mum on the planet Olympics that happens online. Oh, my God. She should have called the police. Why? The police have interviewed her, not once. I actually referred to statements. They were very quick to say they didn't think she had anything to do with it. Failure to report a crime, I believe. I mean, I don't know. I have to check Idaho law. But in many places, that's an offence. If the cops were that concerned, you reckon they would have charged her? I do. And now there's channels that I have promoted on my channel saying these guys are really good at what they do. They're calling out a lot of the BS on YouTube. that are going through articles like the Daily Mail and talking to their subscribers, again, about the surviving housemate and why she didn't call the cops. And they've got big audiences and very loyal subscribers. One of them, I was a loyal subscriber too, but I'm starting to question it because that particular creator went through a Daily Mail article and it's pretty scathing about DM not calling the cops and so on. And there are literally thousands of people watching that creator and they're all going to be like, well, he's called out, some pretty bad shit that's been going on YouTube and he's very good at what he does. And if he's, putting this information out there, then once again, my theory that she was a horrible human being for not calling 911 must be right. So I'm going to make sure I go to every other channel discussing it and her, because shitloads of them are. And I'm going to join in with everyone else. Let's fire everyone up. Let's go after this girl. You never trust a mother who says she's a good mother. It reminds me of the Dalai Lama, I think, who said, wise people never tell you they're wise. They're wise enough to know better. That's my addition. I'm an old soul. I'm wise beyond my years. All my life people have said you're an old soul and that you're wise. Yeah, no, if you were wise, you wouldn't be saying that, you dickhead. Same as the people who write, you're an idiot. Why you are? You're an idiot. That just makes me laugh. I'm like, really? You're going to fuck up the spelling in that one or get the grammar wrong? Like, go you. You sure they're the idiot? Because you're trying to out-idiot them? Looks like traffic could be a bit crawly, so we might get a good chat happening, guys. Put out positive vibes. I can get my car in for a service too. My car sounds like a Mack truck, or sometimes a bit like a turbo, and it's neither. It's neither of those things. Hopefully I'll be able to glance at comments and get a gist of what you're saying in a minute, guys, but not yet. This bit of road is particularly treacherous. Good comment, Kylie, and I agree. And that's the thing, these sleuths they're not true crime. They're not OG true crime where everything was about the facts. Back before YouTube and being able to go live and have a live chat going and all of that stuff, if you were really into true crime, there were very few options other than reading books about crimes or newspaper articles, or one day along came the website Web Sleuths. And the lovely Trish has a YouTube channel and she created Web Sleuths decades ago. And it's the most fantastic platform for OG true crime people. Why? Because all of the discussions revolve around the facts we know at the time, and that's it. Now, sometimes when you're speculating with facts, you have to use common sense as well. I talked about that the other day. If someone is found with a receipt in their pocket that they went through a McDonald's drive-through and got a Big Mac and a chocolate shake and an apple pie at 11 p.m. on Tuesday night, and they paid with their card, and there's evidence of that, and their GPS on their phone indicates they were at that McDonald's, and they're the facts. You can infer from those facts that that person went to McDonald's and bought food at 11 p.m. on Tuesday night. You can use your common sense. There's nothing wrong with that because it's fact-based. Hi, Bristol. Welcome to my rant. I've got the day from hell coming up. I mean, I had the day from hell yesterday, and this is a repeat of it. I'm the only one at the service. The phones have been running off the hook. We've got back-to-back clients all day, and somehow I've got to juggle helping my clients and giving them solid legal advice in addition to booking in all the people that are calling for appointments. It's insane. But on the upside, at 5 p.m. today I leave, and I'm not back in the office till Tuesday because Monday next week is a public holiday. So I'm a bit excited about that. And then on Tuesday night, I know Tuesday's going to be hideous too already. But Tuesday night, my sister and I are going to go and see some live music, and that'll be lovely. And then I have a couple of days off before I do it all again on Friday. We need like 2 more lawyers working for us now. That's how bad it is. But we don't have the funding, so we won't be getting 2 more lawyers to help us out anytime soon. But I'm the only one in. Everyone else is on annual leave, which is most inconvenient. Like, I'm all for people taking annual leave. We all work our asses off. We deserve to have holidays. But scheduling when staff take annual leave, that you've got 3 staff off all at the same time, when there's literally 5 of us at the service, isn't ideal, especially when the 2 of us that are not on annual leave are both part-time. And one of them is only 1 day a week. Blueberry picking got cancelled. I'm enjoying a blueberry smoothie as we speak that I made before I left home. And it's delicious. Blueberries, coconut milk, ice, coconut whey protein, peanut butter, and a dash of vanilla essence. Absolutely scrumptious. I do love keto smoothies. Recruit some lawyers for the service off YouTube. Yeah, might as well. There's certainly people putting themselves out there like they know better than lawyers. And look, lawyers get shit wrong. But mostly lawyers stick to the facts and work with what they've got, the facts. And they work on proving them if they're a prosecutor. And if they're a defendant's lawyer, they work on discrediting them. That's how the law works. But yeah, you're right. I should tell work. Let's go on YouTube and recruit some of these. What do they used to call them? Bush lawyers. I actually had someone chatting to me on the weekend at this meet and greet that I went to. Not for Molly Go Lightly. I volunteer for the Disabled Surfing Association of Tasmania. It's fantastic. Very excited. We've got 2 surf meets coming up, one in February, one in March. They do amazing stuff. But I will try to reach out. As you know, guys, we do get to the car park and usually have at least half an hour to chat. So, but yeah, this guy was pitching to me that, and I'm a lawyer, that we don't charge our clients. We're a funded legal service, so we give free advice. To a point, it does get to a point where our clients have to go before the tribunal, and we have to refer them to no win, no fee law firms, or firms that will take our clients no win, no fee if they've got a case. But he was pretty much telling me that, all lawyers should be free. And I was like, what is this constant belief out there in the wild that you shouldn't have to pay for lawyers? You pay for your doctors and your accountants and your mechanics and your electricians and your plumbers and everyone else who provides a service and is running a business. But apparently lawyers, we should all just work for free because, people need lawyers and they cost money. It's so bizarre. I mean, I guess shops should just start giving the clothes they sell to everyone for free too. And grocery stores and greengrocers and supermarkets and bottle shops should all just start giving people food and alcohol for free. I mean, why not? Come and pay my house. I hope you don't mind. I'm not going to pay you because you're kind of expensive. What, do you want your house painted? Yeah. I just don't think I should pay you. Well, there's a lawyer on trial at the moment who might be able, but I work my friggin' ass off in this job. It's very emotionally draining because most of our clients have mental health issues, and some of them to the extent that they're suicidal. And we're a free legal service, but we get spoken to like shit because we're not private lawyers. When people are paying you to be their lawyer, don't get me wrong, clients who pay you also can be very abusive. But we get asked, are you a real lawyer? Excuse me? Do you want my practicing certificate? Oh, I think I need to speak to another lawyer. Like, I might call a law firm and get their opinion. Well, go for it. You'll be paying for it. I think 2023 is going to be the year of me finding a new job. Because there's only so much abuse you can take, Like, I'm going to put my sunnies on, guys. I can't read chat anyway for the moment, so. I mean, one of my co-workers on Friday was very badly verbally abused by a client. And she was really rattled by it because it was the first time she'd had somebody be that abusive. And the way the world is going and people just getting angrier and nastier, and I believe the online world has fed into that too, because people have got so much power when they're anonymous sitting behind a keyboard, behind a computer on a keyboard. But it's now filtering out into real life as well. I mean, we don't get paid like corporate lawyer wages at all. In fact, the receptionist where I work is on a better salary than I am. We drop everything to help these people that are accessing our service and getting free advice and good advice and a lot of assistance with their matters, where we could be saying, well, if you don't like what we're doing, go and pay a private lawyer. Oh, I don't want to have to pay a lawyer. Well, okay, well, fine, but you can't abuse our staff. And I actually have said to the lawyer last week who got abused, that that person needs to go on a blacklist and we should never deal with them again. We give people too many second chances because they might be dealing with issues that are causing them emotional distress and so on. But at the end of the day, we don't deserve to be abused because of that. Like, there are shitloads of other people that are dealing with issues as well that would never think to be so abusive in me. It's a bit like what we see on YouTube all the time with crimes that are committed, and one of the first things that people start talking about is mental health issues need to be discussed more. It's like, you don't even know for a fact this person has a mental health issue, and how demeaning for all of those people who do, who would never think to kill people or deliberately drive their truck through a crowd of people enjoying a festival, or murder their wife and children because they want to hook up with their smoking hot little lover. Like, plenty of the vast majority of people with mental health issues would never think to do stuff like that, let alone carry it out. But people are so quick to go, put the mental health tag on people, and it's unbelievably disrespectful to all the people with mental health illnesses and diseases who live healthy, productive, contributing to society lives despite what they're up against. G'day, if anyone new's rolling in, and I will be reading chat soon. We're nearly, in fact, I could put my specs back on because the sun's not right in my face now. And we might get an opportunity at the lights to say g'day. No, you haven't, Reese. You might have murdered a meal that you cooked once or twice, but that'd be about it, right? So, yeah, I mean, my desire to help people is what makes me do this job, but I do it knowing that I'm potentially each day going to get somebody screaming down the phone at me, um, abusing the crap out of me and fellow staff members, and expecting us to fix all of their problems. There was a person who rang yesterday that the earliest I can get them in is next week because we are absolutely fully booked. I mean, we're trying to do double what we're meant to do in a day for starters. But he left a message saying, I need someone to urgently return my call today, it wasn't possibly, today if preferable. Or it might have just been today. And I sent him a text. I said, the earliest I can get you in with the lawyer is next week. And I'm half expecting there to be a message from him today saying, fuck you, it's urgent. And it's like, your lack of preparation doesn't warrant an emergency on our behalf. And we've already got clients who got onto us much sooner than you did, who we are helping first. That's just the way it has to work right now. But again, because we're a free service, people are just expecting us to have, I don't know, a team of 30 people. They're ready to take their call right then and there. I mean, like I said, we're booked till next week is already pretty full, if not full. That's how flat out we are, and people just have to wait. And if they've left it to the last minute, well, sorry, but that's not our issue. So put out positive vibes that the abuse I cop today is relatively minor. um, I just feel that people are getting so angry um, and have such high expectations of everyone around them, but don't deliver or perform to the standard they expect from everybody else. And I do think social media has had a lot to do with that. I think that the anonymity that social media offers has empowered people, and they feel safe and protected because of the anonymity. And it allows them to be as abusive and nasty as they want, and often with very few ramifications. And then that's filtered out into, the real world. It's kind of sad. No worries, Groover Rooney. Yeah, just being polite and reasonable doesn't cost a thing. But it seems to be unattainable for so many people. Or it's attainable and they see it there, but they choose to go down a different road and just be undeniably vile to everyone for some reason. Speaking of vile, wow, the car park's getting pretty full. Oh, damn, you took the park I was going to take. So she's taking two parks. You need to come back out and straighten up. Okay. Alrighty then. Oh, to me, that's basically a free park. So I'm parking in here. What does that say? It has no writing on it. It's a blank piece of paper. Actually, there's another park I'm going to take now that that lady has straightened up. Because knowing my luck, someone will come and go, that was reserved. Let's take this spot. All in all, we're just another brick in the wall. Yeah, it is busy. Bloody school holidays are over, that's why. The glory. Write my name on the page. Oh, damn, I should have. I'll put a Sharpie in my bag. Not tomorrow. I'm not coming back here till next week. I won't be coming anywhere near this joint for a week. Honestly, today is going to be so intense, and I've already got more in my calendar than I've actually got hours to do all the stuff I have to do. So yeah, it's going to be an absolute bastard of a day. But with every passing minute, it's closer to leaving, and I'll just focus on each client and do as much as I can, and then hopefully, um, you know, some other people when they're back will not lift their game. They're away. It's not their fault they're not there, but we'll just all have to soldier on together as a team and get through it all. It's just crazy. I mean, yesterday I just wanted to cry. I got so full on. And I just had to just get up and have a stretch and go for a little walk and get some fresh air just for 5 minutes and regroup to go back in and do the next one. It was just so full on. And the phones are just ringing constantly while you're trying to give people advice. And it was really tough. I wasn't going to put makeup on, and now I've realised I've got face-to-face appointments today, which is also tough because they're usually longer appointments, and when we're already under the pump, just sort of having to keep things short and sweet and deal with people as quickly as you can. That's essentially how we're surviving at the moment. But for some reason, when people have made the effort to come into the office and they're all frocked up for a lawyer's appointment, they want, they want to hang around and feel like they've had the full experience. And it's like, we just don't have that luxury today. Thank you, Kylie. Definitely more abusive on the phone, yes. And some of them are stupid enough to be abusive in emails too. But the phone is the main platform they choose to abuse on, yes. And, probably 80% of the abuse is because they've left things really late. They've been given advice that they didn't take. And so everything basically turns to shit, and they were warned that it would if they didn't follow that advice. And then they feel that it's their right to then lash out because they didn't do anything they were meant to do. And the fact that they leave it late is always a massive problem. And then they expect us to drop everything and ignore the clients who were more organised than them and rang us sooner. And some of the clients that I'm dealing with today won't be able to speak to a lawyer till next week at this rate. And if that week is too far away from them, they're going to have to speak to a private lawyer. It's just the way it is. There's only so many staff on. And again, it's just me. And I've got clients from the get-go right through till the end of the day. But yeah, the earliest appointments now are next week. So we used to call clients to book them in, but I've actually started using the text service, and then it says if this time isn't convenient, then you'll need to call the office to reschedule, and then we reschedule and send another text because that's eliminating a lot of the abuse. Plus, I just don't have the time today. I've got clients back to back. When am I meant to return all of these people's calls to book them in? Yeah, I know. I think because we're free, that's why we're more susceptible to abuse, because weirdly, a relationship between a lawyer and client who's paying you is very different. It's not to say that they don't get fired up and abusive as well, especially when they're getting advice they didn't want to hear. But there's a very different level of respect if someone's actually paying the lawyer for their service. But when you're free, you're open to all manner of abuse. There's people aren't prepared to pay a lawyer. We give them really good advice, and we also refer them to excellent services if their matter isn't something we can handle. And yeah, they speak to us like we're dirt. But then you've also got people who could pay for a lawyer who choose not to and want free advice instead. And they have unbelievably high expectations of us, like they do have some sort of private client relationship with us when they don't. Yeah, I agree, Ozzy. I think we do really important work, and we're the only legal service in the country that provides advice in the area of law that I work in. And half the time I feel like saying to some of these rude people, if you lived in another state, this service doesn't even exist. You would be paying a lawyer to help you. There's not a lot of gratitude either, which is fine. My work is unconditional, but, some of the stuff that we achieve for people and barely a thank you, it's pretty startling. Don't get me wrong, we have beautiful clients who give lovely feedback as well, but the majority need to be prompted by us checking in on them or sending them a survey. Very few people make the effort to contact us to thank us or drop in and say thank you, or, back when I was a private lawyer, you get a good result for a client, you get bombarded with champagne and flowers and invitations out to dinner or all sorts of stuff. You don't get anything like that where I work. And they can put us through a lot too, and and they're going through a lot, and we're really mindful of that. But just that old-fashioned decency seems to be a thing of the past, sadly, and gratitude isn't something that's expressed readily. Like I said, we follow up to see how our clients are doing, or we send out surveys to try and get some feedback. But, holy shit. My sister is also a community lawyer, and she deals with the same sort of stuff, and you get used to it. You know that you're not going to get a lot of gratitude expressed your way, but she does have clients that are so grateful that they were able to access, and she works in family dispute resolution, that they really go out of their way to, let her know. And it's not about being given stuff. Like, these people are accessing free legal services because they're not in a position to pay a lawyer. Don't get me wrong, though. Our service isn't a means-tested one, so we do take clients on that could pay for a lawyer, but, choose not to because we're free. But the benefit of that is that there is a point with our service where we do need to refer people to private lawyers because we're just not funded to have the staff. We don't have the staff to do what we're doing, let alone, spend days in the tribunal and all of that sort of stuff. And like I said, we've got firms that are not no-win, no-fee law firms, but they will take referrals from our service on that basis if the person has a case. But then, we refer them on and they get the opinion from that firm and they say, look, this case is not going to be a winner and this is why. And then they call us back and abuse the crap out of us because they don't like the legal opinion they're given, even though we've said to them, that's essentially what you'll get from that firm. They'll tell you the reality of your case and then you need to make some decisions. It's really hard. It's a hard gig. I had a client yesterday who is pulling the pin on everything just for her own mental health. She's just made the decision to drop everything and move on because it's just affecting her mental health so much that she's weighed it all up and she's so much happier for it. And she actually apologized to me that she wasn't going to pursue it. And I was like, no, we'll fight for you guys for sure. But we also respect it when you make that sort of a decision and you put your health first. But then we've got other clients where we've sort of said to them, this is going to be disputed and you're going to have to get a lawyer to defend it for you, and they may not want to take you on no win, no fee. They might want fees up front and sort of forewarn them. Because a lot of people, for whatever reason, just, they'll lawyer shop until they find a lawyer that will say, yeah, we'll run it for you. But there are so many cases where it's just like, there's no lawyer in the state that's going to take you on. This is what we recommend that you do. And then they can't find a lawyer who will take them on, so they'll call us back and have a go at us, even though our initial advice was, this is out of time, it's going to get disputed. your rights haven't been impinged at all, but you don't have a case. But here's some law firms if you want to get another opinion, because we're free and you don't think our advice is very good. And then they call the other firms and they get told the same story, and then they ring us back and tell us we're assholes. Thank you. Thanks for that. They're almost shitty that lawyers are saying to them, we don't want to take you on because you're not going to win it. Like, there are precedents that say you will lose this. And they, for some reason, they're annoyed because in their mind they've got a winnable case and they have 6 lawyers tell them they don't. And rather than just drop it and go, okay, well, that sucks, but, let's get on with my life. Oh, I'm going to call that service back and abuse the crap out of them because their advice was right. I don't have a case. I've had 5 other lawyers tell me the same thing. So I know what I'm going to do today. I'm going to ring that first place up again and tell them they're assholes. Thank you. Just putting on some eyeshadow. I wasn't going to do makeup, and then I remembered I've got face-to-faces today too. Oh my God, kill me now, guys. Can only do what I can do, right? Just deal with one call at a time, and then I'll put all the stuff that I don't get to in an email, and it'll be there for the people that are in tomorrow to deal with. Their turn to take one for the team, That's true too, Kylie. No, nobody does. Should have been a kinder teacher. She gets a ton of chocolate. Yeah, I'm doing keto right now, so chocolate makes me want to eat something quickly. I don't eat a lot of chocolate, but I just like having a little piece each day, just, a little sweet treat after a big savoury salad. And I love my salads, but I always feel like a little chocolate afterwards. I mean, with keto, you can have, if you're doing sort of low carb, and you're not doing no sugar, you can, do like a little piece of dark chocolate or whatever. And I'm not strictly keto, I'm sort of low carbing more than ketoing, but mainly ketoing. But I've still got chocolates that people gave me for Christmas that I haven't eaten. My sister and niece and I bought some chocolates in Singapore, and I've still got some. They haven't. In fact, my niece ate all of hers while we were still on the flight home. God damn young people who can eat chocolate and it just doesn't make a difference to their physique at all. So I was inspired as a kid when I read Willy Wonka or Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. I eat chocolate the way Charlie did. I take a tiny piece off my little block and savor it. Like I used to still have chocolates that I got at Easter when we were getting close to Christmas. And my brother and sister would always raid my collection, so I had to lift my hiding game. Because they had no shame. If they could find chocolate in my room, it was theirs and they would eat it. Bastards. I've actually brought cough medicine with me today because I spent so much time on the phone yesterday, my voice started to crackle and disappear. So I've actually got to bring bloody cough medicine in to swig on when my voice starts to break. Many victims do drop stuff, and it is, look, the area of law that I work in is not an area where a person choosing to not pursue their case, they're not a victim. They might have been exposed to bullying or abuse in the workplace, that sort of stuff, but they're not like my crim clients. But no, I do know what you're saying, Ozzy, for sure. But with the area that we work in, as far as clients choosing to not pursue their matters, like I have full respect for them because it's hard to go into detail without talking too much about clients and stuff. But um, when our clients make a decision to not pursue it because it's affecting their mental health, they have looked at all the other options available to them and they're happy with the decision based on, how they can survive financially and what opportunities there are for them out in the workforce and how it's impacting them and their family, if they can afford ongoing treatment or if they've been approved for like a 10-session mental health plan that's funded by the government. Like, there's all these factors that can make it way more appealing for them to just let go and move on. And that to me is very empowering. Our job is to empower people in their matters. But if they look at all of that stuff and realize and weigh it up and realize the emotional stress of proceeding outweighs, everything else in their life, and they've got means and ways to survive, then I have to respect that too. Like I said, we'll fight tooth and nail for our clients, but when clients know that, when they've looked at all the pros and cons and know that they're better off not proceeding, I can only support them in that. Or the kindy teachers, kiddies. Yeah, I know. I'd like to. I mean, we're supposed to have breakouts and time in between clients to regroup because it can get very emotionally heavy for us. And at the moment, we're just so busy we can't do that. We've just got to soldier on and then fall apart at the end of the day. Hey, Joey. Oh, bless her. I got given Lindt chocolate for maybe part of my birthday present. And yeah, I do, when I pack lunches for work, I do put one of those in my lunch. I'm a bit like your 91-year-old mum. You put on 4 kilos over Christmas. You're on a celery and edge up 4 kilos. Go you. Champion effort. Well, Joey, if you believe it, then yeah. But it's unverified information from sources like Ashley Banfield. So I was talking about that earlier. And why I'm still staying strong in my view about it all, because we don't know much at all. The stuff that is verified is tiny information. People are interpreting it the way they want to, and then all of this unverified shit from Ashley Banfield and the Daily Mail are now being put out there as being fact without them naming their sources or even saying their sources are verified by them. And everyone's listening to it and having the same reaction that you've had. But my point is, none of that's coming from the cops. There's not going to be any more information till the preliminary hearing. And all this information that's been put out by the Ashley Banfields of the world is just feeding the sleuths, and people are becoming more and more critical of this girl who can't even speak up for herself and defend herself because of a gag order. But also, the only things that I'm factoring in are the things that have been put out in official police documents and court documents. That's actually the whole point of my live, interestingly, is that, yeah, it's so irresponsible and horrifying what's happening to her. Yeah, workplace stuff is very complex. How do you find out stuff about a murder when there's barely anything online in Australia? Well, you know, as best as well as I do, Joey, that's the problem with, well, not the problem, I guess. If you want to be protected in the legal system, it's brilliant that we don't get a lot of info. But yeah, I mean, you can only research basically and whatever you can find. If it's a case that's happening at the moment, the public can often sit in a courtroom and watch the trial, but research. And then everything you find on it, if there's mention of other articles or links or, it talks about a podcast or whatever, then you just keep fanning out that way. But yeah, some cases, I mean, I'm doing missing persons in Tassie, and some of them there's very little info about them at all. But there's also a couple of very active Facebook communities that are keeping the awareness out there that those people have been missing, and they're often a really good source of information too. You're not an idiot, although I don't know what you're talking about, but I did actually think it was from the auntie. Oops, I believed him. Silly me. That's okay. That's what sort of why I'm chatting about it, because people are hungry for more information, and you hear people saying, we deserve to know more. Well, we don't. And that's, I think, until people drop this belief that as members of the public, they're entitled to know more, the sooner this sleuthing shit will slow down a bit. But people have I mean, I heard a really good creator, well, everyone's got questions and we deserve to know the answers. You actually don't. You don't at all. Like, here's an example. You follow a sporting team and they're amazing, and you go along and watch all of their games and you can see how they're elite athletes and they're really good at what they do. But you don't know what they do in their training each week that makes them so good. You don't know how the coach has managed to get this team working together so well. You don't know how many attempts they've had at putting people in different positions till it all just comes together. But does anyone who follows a footy team that's kicking goals and on the top of the ladder want to know all of that stuff or demand to know it all? No. No. They just rock up and watch their team playing and they have a mighty good time. But there's something about this sort of new wave of sleuths that are not true crime, OG true crime, who think they're entitled to know shit. And that's the problem with the courts, I think, in other countries putting so much information out there and having televised trials, because the public are becoming or do feel entitled because they are given so much information. But at the end of the day, and this is a classic example, Joe, with you asking about looking into a case, 20 years ago in Australia, because we aren't given much information, there isn't an expectation here or a sense of entitlement that we should be told more. People just accept it for what it is. It's the judicial process, and there are ways we can be spectators, like literally going to court and watching the trial or listening to a podcast about it. But you don't see people in Australia going, we demand answers, we deserve to know more, because it's not part of our judicial culture here. I mean, Australian media, if they were reporting on this shit that came out in the last 24 hours about DM, which I doubt they would even bother engaging in it, but even if they did, they still wouldn't name her and they would blur out her face in photos. That's how private the laws are here. But yeah, Australians generally don't have this expectation. You don't hear Australians going, we deserve answers. Why? It's got nothing to do with you. The families of the victims deserve answers. The family of the accused deserves answers. None of us do. None of us do. Me too, Ozzy. It's fascinating. But it's also a train wreck, let's be honest, and can see exactly why. Because we do live in a country where there's such strict privacy laws and the way things are reported here. But watching what's going on in the States and how every case, new victims are created daily by online web sleuths. I don't like saying web sleuths because that's the lovely Trisha's name for her channel and website. But the online sleuths, it's just a feeding frenzy. And they're creating so many victims and they don't give a fuck about it. Until it's someone they care about, and then, oh my God, there'll be all hell to pay, right? I actually like it, Joey. Oh. Damn it, that wasn't my office building. That's just what we need today, a bloody fire alarm, and we'll have to stand out on the street for an hour. I prefer it that we don't get it. And certainly as a lawyer, and having worked in criminal law, it made it so much likely that someone would get a fair trial and you wouldn't get tainted juries. And the course of justice would run a lot more smoothly, or does. Fucking Reddit. I think in the USA they have something in the law saying public are entitled, but states go, wow, okay, I might have to look into that. I mean, that's the argument, isn't it, when trials are being televised and people say, I don't think they should be televised, and they're all like, it's our right, that's how the public keeps our law enforcement and lawyers and judges in check. You know, they need to be televised. We're taxpayers, they're public servants. We're entitled to keep an eye on what they're up to. But isn't it funny, you know, God forbid anyone checks in on what they're doing online and the shit that they're saying online and calls them out about it. And this is, again, this hypocrisy. You can't demand to know everything as a citizen of America. It's your right because you pay for judicial officers, essentially. But then, you know, if you're being investigated for your online shenanigans and being called out about it, oh my God, how dare you? So, I mean, why does the right only work in one direction? People don't get that even if Brian is innocent, he would be let out by now. Not how it works. Well, also, most channels now are pretty much talking about him like he's already been convicted, which is disgusting too. I think because we see so much from the US, I think it's weird when I can't. Yeah, no, that's fair call. And look, I mean, I've got access to, you know, probably some really good researching platforms just by nature of the fact that I'm a lawyer, but I still can't find out a lot of information about cases, especially if there's suppression orders in place. And there usually are, as you'd know. We did have the internet 20 years ago, yes. I had to find info on cases that isn't recorded. Very much so. Very much so. But, you know, the cops would definitely have very thick files unless they start leaking stuff, you know. I think the sleuths come out more in cases where there's less official info out there. Yeah, they love that. They love it. And the more that they can twist the little bits and pieces that are being put out by YouTubers, some of whom I used to think were very responsible, but even they're going down the feed the sleuth road. I mean, any creator that cites the Daily Mail UK as a credible source of information, holy shit. Like I was saying earlier, I mean, they often do have more photos. They often have much more information. I'm sure that they pay people for information, and people also probably approach them with information. But at the end of the day, you know, unless you see the word verified or people being named, you know, take everything with a grain of salt you see in the media. And the people that are tuning into Ashley Banfield every day and taking what she's saying as gospel, all she's doing is feeding the sleuths. She's sensationalistic. She knows she's got a following. People are used to her historically being a good reporter of information, but she's definitely taken a turn. And They listen to her and they're like, oh my God, this is horrible. And they go live about it. And then all the people that roll in to listen are all buying into it as well and spreading it out there. It's horrific. I can't stop it. I know that. It does give me hope, though, that occasionally there are people in chats and there are people in comments saying, hang on a sec. All we should really be talking about is what the cops have put out about DM. What are you guys doing? This is irresponsible. Like, let the girl grieve. Let her recover from what must have been so horrific. But instead, they're all, she should have called the cops. She should have done this. She should have done that. The cops said right from the start they didn't think she had anything to do with it. Like, leave her alone. That could be true too, Joey. You did an IT course back in 2000, did a Janis Joplin PowerPoint. It is so different now. And that's the thing, we've got access to so much information now. We've got ways of verifying information. We know credible sources. We know unethical sources. We've got information. Like if you type in, is so-and-so a credible, reliable media reporter, the answers come up pretty quickly. No. So then you don't bloody take a word that they say seriously. But that's the thing, these sleuths, they think they're sleuthing, but they don't fact check anything. Imagine if that's how cops operated. It's fucking insane to me. I'm so into crime. I love crime. I'm into true crime. I'm a sleuth. Look at me with all the information I've got. Why don't the cops know all of this stuff? I've heard it on Ashley Banfield. Why aren't they looking into it? I'm going to call them and tell them they've got to look into this. Ashley said it's true. Sure, she didn't cite her source or verify it, but she's saying it's true, so, it must be because it's Ashley Banfield. Oh, look at me. I've got an article in the Daily Mail. I'm going to tell all of my subscribers this is factual, even though it's not verified and it's also a joke publication. Spread the word, subscribers. Get out there and tell everyone how bad this is. Slander this innocent girl who the cops don't think has anything to do with it or did anything wrong. Off you go, and off they all go. And then they feed each other. There's a frenzy happening. Exactly, Ruth. The Daily Mail is a comic of fiction. Exactly. Are you listening, Ickard Mel? Next time you use that as your credible source? Jesus Christ. What's going on? People are losing their minds. I'm going to lose my mind today. In fact, I have to go in shortly. What do you reckon with the Daybell case? Can't we just get audio at least? I understand not wanting Laurie on camera. I don't know much about it. I know about the case, but I don't know what the decisions are being made on that, so I can't really comment. Sorry, Aussie. I had a rant earlier about everyone being so against the poor kid and it got removed. Yep, there you go. And that's also why I've got 7 people watching me, not 700. Because, if I speak up, I get abused. I get accused of promoting my podcast, which I haven't done an episode of my podcast for 3 years now, but okay. I'm not in chat saying everyone subscribe to me. See you, Joey. Have a great day, Groover. I saw your comments about the Elantra, but yeah, I'm interested in that. But it's, that's, you're talking about something factual and questioning it. Good on you. That's the way we should be. People can write and say anything. Yep, it doesn't make it true. And that's the thing, like, Ashley Banfield only 2 weeks ago put that horrible interview up with Cara Canodal. It was hideous. Absolutely horrible. And then had to come out with a little statement going, yeah, look, I know that a few people weren't happy about it, but I'm still really not going to apologise or admit that I completely took advantage of a woman who has serious issues. And now 2 weeks later, she's come out with this, the latest regarding the surviving housemaid, and everyone's latched on going, oh, yeah, this is the goss we want. Let's continue to crucify this girl. The cops said they don't think she's connected at all. And yet there are people in chat going, she was in cahoots with him. It just, this is a kid who has survived something horrific. The end. Leave her alone. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I do keep an eye on what's going on, and it keeps firing me up. In fact, I'm going to do a live about it. If not, probably not tonight because I reckon I'll be stuffed, but maybe tomorrow. Definitely tomorrow. If not tonight, it will be more likely tomorrow. And I want to show some of the channels and what they're doing, and I just want to sit there and be devil's avocado and just respond with, but what if? But what if? But what if? Oh, yeah, and I mentioned that earlier a couple of times too, Wake the Truck Up, and that's the sad thing about it. She's been absolutely crucified, slandered, criticised, abused, and potentially offline as well. And she has no way of defending herself. But she shouldn't have to, because the cops said, we don't think she has anything to do with it. They had to put the evidence about her seeing the perpetrator, potentially, leaving the house. Unfortunately, the term, that she was frozen in shock is being taken so out of context, because I can easily argue the other way to look at that statement, and I have before many times. But everyone's like, oh, how could you be in a state of fear for 8 hours? And it's just like, she wasn't. That's not information we've been given. Someone's walking out of the house as she's coming out of her bedroom door. She freezes. I wish she'd said, I froze on the spot. And she might have even said that, and that's just the way the cop wrote it, Like, there's so many ways you can question everything, and none of them do. That's a fact. She fucked up. She should have called the cops. And we've all got confirmation bias because we know what had actually happened in that house. She didn't, at the time, have any clue. It makes me so mad, but I'm going to have to regroup. I'm now going to have to go and save my clients and help them out. Correct. They will twist it anyway. They've made up their minds. And that's the thing. Like, I don't care if one person one time this year comes into my channel and goes, holy shit, someone who's actually being reasonable, it'll be worth it. Well, I don't even know if it's mysterious. I mean, I can argue that it's not, quite easily. Yeah, then defend it by saying she's not just so everyone knows that she's not a suspect. But here, listen to all of this salacious information we've got from unverified sources. Now spread the word. Get out there and tell everyone out there on the interwebs about it. Feed the sleuths. Let the frenzy continue. And we don't even know really, there's now all these additional noises that have been thrown in the mix. Apparently, according to this person, there was a heap of screaming going on. Like, seriously. It's 4 a.m. She's probably been out partying her butt off with everyone else. It just is, sickening to me. Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing. We've only been given such a tiny bit of info. And the only reason that was included in the probable cause affidavit is because it was an identification. Like, they had to include that. Other than that, we know very little. And we should stick to the very little we know. Yeah, I'm so with you, Wake the Truck Up. We were talking about that before too. That's why so many Aussies watch all of these American cases, because we just are not given any information. And like I was saying before, thank fuck, because don't get me wrong, social media is impacting trials and stuff here, even with our strict privacy laws, but a defendant has a much better chance of getting an unbiased jury and a fair trial, which is their right in Australia because of our laws. And the UK as well, yes. On that note, guys, I do have to go. I've got to go and set up my office. I've got so much to do today. But I will survive it. I'll just breathe as I deal with each issue bit by bit. And thank you for hanging out with me, and keep an eye out for a live that I'll do from home with much better audio, where we can, take a proper look at this. And I'm happy to just sit there and be devil's avocado, and you guys can even fling. I mean, I'll play a couple of things and we'll respond, but I'll also, if you want to fling things you've heard out there, and I'll give you the alternative, because there's always more than one side to a story. I love you guys. I'll see you all very soon. Have a beautiful Monday or Sunday, wherever you be. And until next time, don't get struck by a smooth criminal or a blueberry smoothie criminal. Bye.